So as you can see, we have 4 pairs of coloured passives and 1 pair of workers. The coloured passives are hung open or in a rainbow style, so that you have one coloured bobbin on each side, and the workers are hung and just moved to one side, so they are absolutely separate. Now we are going to be working to the right first of all on this piece. These patterns are available on my Facebook page, or they are available on the Bobbin Lace Along Facebook group, which you'll need to join. Or of course you can in fact make your own pattern, and I'll put the dimensions in the box below. You don't actually need too much thread on these, as you can see, literally just the end of a bobbin, because these are not big projects. These are absolutely ideal for using up bits and pieces left on your bobbin which are too pretty to throw away. Or if you are saving money and you just want to make a couple of little bits and pieces before winding up your next haul of bobbins to make something bigger. These are absolutely the best way to go. And it doesn't matter what colours you have or anything like that. The only thing you might need to do is, if you are doing the 3D flower pattern that comes a bit later, if you do them in green, see, exactly the same pattern. If you do them in green, they look like leaves, and then you can multitask them. But other than that, it really doesn't matter what colour you are. I've only put the bobbins, the workers in white, just so that they show up a bit easier on this video. Feel free to have whatever colour you need. Okay, let's get started. So we have 4 pairs of passives, 1 pair of workers. We are going to go to the right first of all in cloth stitch. So that is cross, twist, cross. And you do that all the way along. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. These are very, very easy, very quick to make. And you can make a lot of these with this, if you have 4 bobbins, you can make a lot of these out of your 4 bobbins. So we're going to go along until we get to this pinhole here, which I've marked on my pricking. It's the 3rd one down on the left. And then we'll start the vein, which is the decorative stripe in the middle. But up until then, we're just doing cloth stitch backwards and forwards. Cross, twist, cross. Cross, twist, cross. Okay. Going back the other side. And then as you go, make sure that you are tensioning all your bobbins so that you get your nice crisp shape, even with these slightly softer pearly threads. These are ideal for beginners. They're quite tough. They're hard to snap, although it can be done. They come in a billion different colours. They're quite cheap. You get quite a lot on a reel. They're normally quite available. And they're softer than crochet cotton. And they've got a slight sheen to them. So, yes, you can use crochet cotton, but everything will be slightly stiff, which is fine for the body. The body of the butterfly, which is what we made before. But the wings probably need a little bit of a softer touch. But if that's what you have, then use that, absolutely. You can use embroidery threads, the 6-strand embroidery threads. Pearly cotton is probably the equivalent of 2 threads of that. So if you have embroidery floss that you separate out, use 2 strands per bobbin. Okay, so now we are on our row here, which I've marked, and we need to get to the middle. So the middle of these ones here is 2 pairs either side. And now we're going to make this decorative vein, which runs down the middle. And how we do that is we just going to twist the workers. That's all there is to it. So we need to start the vein slowly, build up, and come back down again. So you start with 1 twist in the middle, or wherever you need it to be. I just thought the middle was easier. And then twist twice, put your pin in, go back the other way. Okay, so you go cloth stitch through 2. twist the workers twice because we've done one and now we're doing two. We need to fill this space and push these bobbins out to the sides. So cloth stitch back to the edge, twist twice, pop your pin in. Just give it a little tension, back the other way. And then because we're going to fill in that space, we're going to do 3 twists. And that's probably as many as we need to fill this big gap. Otherwise, you'll find that your work does that. And you have big gaps everywhere. And it will be very unstable as a leaf or as a petal or as a wing. So you can see how it's pushing the threads either side out to the edges to stabilize the edges, and because that's twisted, that's quite strong. So it just stabilizes everything when you have not enough bobbins or too much space and you don't want to add any more. And then we continue with the 3 twists. So 1, 2, 3. 3 twists again. And we're just going to do that for a few rows until it starts to narrow again. Now, depending on the look you're going for, you can either spread these ones out slightly so you have a slightly wider band coming round like that, or you can push them right to the other side and let the vein stand out in the middle. It's entirely up to you. You're the designer. You work it how you want to work it. So we're just going to keep going in cloth stitch with 3 twists for a few more rows. Twist twice for the edge, pop your pin in. Now I'm going to do another, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do another 5 rows of cloth stitch and I will meet you back there. Okay, so I've done those few extra rows. Now these extra threads here are because I ran out of thread on the workers because I am trying to empty bobbins. So do not concern yourself with that. You just need to make sure that your pattern looks like this one because we're now going to close up this vein. So we're just going to go cloth stitch into the middle, just as we have been doing. And then we've done 3 twists up until here. We're now going to close it. So we're going to do the reverse of what we did here. So this is 2 twists. And then our cloth stitch to the end. Give everything a good tension. Put my hitch on that one back on. There we go. And double twist because of our pin. Pin it into place. And then back the other way. So cloth stitch times 2. And then we've done 3, 2. Now we're doing 1. I'm going back over to cloth stitch on this side. Oops. And then we're double twisting, putting our pin in. And then we're just cloth stitching now as it gets narrower and narrower. And then we're just finishing off. I think there's 3 or 4 rows left to go. Making sure you're pulling up every row to keep this tension nice and tight. Double twist. Pop in your pin. Back we go. Cross, twist, cross, all the way through. Double twist, pin, tension. Okay. Back we go. Like I said, you don't need much thread on these. Passives definitely. Workers probably a little bit more than what I had on there, but like I said, I'm clearing bobbins, emptying them off. That's fine, and you won't see where I've joined it when I finish with it. If you want to learn how to do that and add extra thread or change it up, get rid of knots, whatever you need to do, I have extra videos on my tips and tricks playlist, so feel free to check those out as well. So this is my last row. As you can see, I'm getting very short, so that's good use of thread there. Okay, pop in the last pin right on the very tip, and there is your wing. So all you need to do now is I will work through that first pair just to cover that pin off, and then this one and this one I will use to tie the bobbins. So I just whiz that one under there, whiz that one under there, just so it goes underneath to keep them together. And you're just tying a reef knot over the top. I also have this technique in my tips and tricks, I think, and possibly on my first video. I will check. And then you can just make sure everything's nice and tight. It's all tensioned beautifully. Trim off your ends. And that is your wing. So that's wing A for our butterfly complete.